Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the final edition of Morning Jocks for the week. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you as we get you ready for week 12 now of the college football season. That's right. Some simple math there. That would 12 weeks, 3 months. Crazy how quickly time flies. And we got, 3 weeks left. And then that'll be it for some teams. And then we'll have conference championship games and then bowl season and the college football playoffs. So,
dang, man.
oh, I know.
It's such a damper. Like the way.
Well, it's hard because you spend, we spend, unless your team's, competing up until, the very end of the season in the college football playoff. I mean, after December, you're kind of checked out. You're watching the games, but, your season's over, I guess, from your perspective as a fan of whoever you root for. And then you spend the next 9 months waiting for it, and then it's gone.
Man, it's been a quick ride. It's been fun though.
I know it'll be baseball season again before we know it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty excited though. We got a unique slate this weekend. I think it's kind of one of those.
I think we have a better slate this weekend than last weekend.
That is 100% fact.
Last weekend left something to be desired.
Yeah, but you got some. They ended up being kind of exciting. Like I think on paper, Indiana Penn State didn't necessarily move the needle, but it played out pretty interesting.
I guess I just look at it when, the most interesting games of the weekend were from the ACC.
Yeah. The conference with a bunch of CFP contenders, right?
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, I guess they do have a bunch of contenders because one of them's going to make it. But, yeah, technically, yeah, they do have – they're just like the SEC, man. Well, yeah, we've got like 6 teams in contention as well. Well, yeah, for one spot.
Spot.
They're in contention. So if that's what helps you sleep at night, then so be it. But we're going to have a lot of fun with you today. Of course, it's Final Score Friday, so you know how we like to do things here on the program, 205-834-9450. And that's how you get on the Courtesy GMC text line, and that's how you tell us what your score predictions are for your most anticipated games. What games do you absolutely cannot wait to watch this weekend? I know a lot of you can't wait to watch Virginia and Duke at 2:30 on ESPN2, so maybe you want to send in your score prediction for that. Maybe you want to be boring and send in your score prediction for Alabama and Oklahoma. Who cares about that game?
Or Ole Miss, Florida, the Lane Kiffin Bowl.
Mm-hmm. You can send in coaching odds on that one. We'll take that over the point spread if you want to participate that way. But, yeah, it's going to be nonetheless very, very exciting weekend. We have one number off, but 2 top 11 matchups in the SEC with major college football playoff implications. And, of course, we'll give you our picks coming up here around 6:30, as we do each and every Friday, me and Damian. See, we already have someone texting in like, dang, Connor, that was a cold open. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know some, not trying to bring everybody down with the realities of how quickly the season goes, but
you're presenting facts.
Well, and it's, if anything, make the rest of the season count.
Exactly.
Appreciate it a little bit more.
It's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. You can look at it as the end, but if you are a real contender in November, this is time to lock in. It's exciting.
And we are giving you permission, if you want, for the next 3 Saturdays, don't do anything. Just watch football.
Lock in.
Because life doesn't ever get in the way of any of that, right? You can always just put that stuff off, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Well, no, football. Watch football.
Who cares about the turkey and
dressing? Don't eat. Don't talk to anybody. Just watch football.
Just watch ball.
Isn't that how it works? Oh, man. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting show today, and we will get into what's coming up this weekend in the slate of college football. But before we do that, we have to take a look back because it was an exciting night of sports action last night. You had NFL going, you had college going, you had college basketball going. And why don't we start there, Damian, in the college basketball ranks, because I'm sure many of you were tuned in last night. Some of you probably down there in Tuscaloosa for this one. But it was a top 10 matchup as number 2 Purdue. They came in to Coleman Coliseum to take on the 8th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, of course, coming off that impressive win over St. John's last weekend in New York City. So high expectations. Alabama was actually a 3.5-point favorite coming into this game. And look, credit to Purdue. They get the win 87-80. They looked very, very impressive. That's a team that, barring injury, I would expect them to be right there in the thick of it the whole season for a number 1 seed and expect it to make another deep run. in the NCAA tournament because they were exceptional. And, I thought Alabama played really well for the most part. It was just apparent. It was apparent early on. This was the thing throughout the entire game. And I thought it was impressive that Alabama was able to overcome it for so long. But it was always lingering there in the back of your mind. If you're watching this game, you're going, man, Alabama's getting killed on the offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities, just the size difference that Purdue had over Alabama. And let's be honest, like kind of the skill of some of their big men compared to what Alabama maybe is a little more limited with some of those guys. No Williamson. Anyways, but I thought that, that was just such a big part of the game that was so difficult for Alabama to overcome. On top of the fact that he ended up with 11 points, but LeBaron Philon, who's been so good for Alabama the first couple of games of the season, let's be honest. When your worst player doesn't have a great night and the other team's best player in Braden Smith has a great night, probably not going to win that basketball game. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how it went for Alabama last night. So they get out rebounded 52-28. 52-28, 19-7 on offensive rebounds. Just absolutely dominated there. But Braden Smith, he was incredible. He had 29 points, 7 of 19 from the floor. He went 5 of 10 from three-point range. I mean, he had it.
Yeah.
And I will say this game was really fun to watch too, because especially up until, the final couple minutes when Purdue was finally able to kind of separate and close the game out, it felt like, man, all right, Purdue's getting hot. Like, man, they could run away with this thing, and then Alabama would get hot. And then it just felt like it felt like they were in sync the whole time. Like one team would get hot shooting, then the other team would get hot shooting. And it was back and forth. There were like 23 lead changes in this game, something like that. So it was an incredible basketball game. But Alabama didn't have the answer for Purdue's size, especially there. And then Braden Smith, of course. But yeah, he had the big night. You had Trey Kaufman-Renn. He was a monster last night. He had 19 points and 15 rebounds for Purdue. He was all over the floor for them. So yeah, very, very impressive for them. For Alabama, Aiden Holloway led the scoring again. He was the best player on the floor for them last night. Him and Taylor Ball-Bowen, I thought. But he had 21 points, 5 of 9 from deep. And that's really, unfortunately, not the game that you had gotten from LeBaron Philon recently. Latrell Wretzel only had 6 points. So the guard played not what it was against St. John's. And that's why he came up a little bit short. That and the size disadvantage, I thought.
Yeah, the size disadvantage it was massive. And I think for Alabama, one I will give a lot of credit to. Defensively, they were making it difficult for Purdue to make shots.
Yeah.
It's just Purdue was making them. That's kind of, you just got to tip your cap, because there were certain situations where, I mean, Braden Smith, if he wasn't coming off of a pick and roll, sitting there wide open, like they were switching up on him, and he had to make a harder shot over Bol-Bowen on a couple times. And there were a couple situations where Bol-Bowen was leaving his feet in certain situations, falling for that first pump fake, getting to the rim, get fouled, goes to the free throw line.
Yep.
But overall, to me, I don't think that you can. I don't think you come away from. It's kind of very similar to how I talked about Auburn and Vanderbilt. You can be upset with the loss, but there are things that that, hey, if they go this way, you win that ball game. And a lot of it has to do with shot making too, because there were a lot of open threes that Alabama just could not find the bottom of the net on. But overall, like a typical Nate Oates team, defensively they got after it. I'll give them a lot of credit for that. They made it difficult for Purdue to make shots. It's just sometimes the ball just rolls in, because I will give a lot of credit. Defensively, they did their thing. And a lot of credit to Purdue too. When they slowed it down, that's when they started to really kind of, it was like a death by 1,000 cuts. It's the one time they're not on the fast break where they're kind of loose, that kind of increased their turnover percentage. But when they slowed the game down and set up a lot of plays, that's when they were having most of their success offensively.
Well, and it just felt like, every 2 minutes or so, Purdue would go down the court, somebody put up a shot, they'd miss it, get the rebound, then they'd put up a shot, miss it, someone else would get a rebound. I mean, they're getting multiple second chance opportunities on one possession, and Alabama just didn't have an answer for that. But Alabama did win the turnover battle, so that's an area they've struggled with under Nate Oates. They got better there. But like you said, you only shot 36% from three-point range, and there were times in the game where it felt like they couldn't miss, and then there were times in the game where it felt like they couldn't hit anything to save their life. And unfortunately, 36% just not quite going to cut it there. When you shoot 44 threes against a team like Purdue, you come up a little short. So Alabama, they moved to 2-1 on the season. Their next game is another tough one, as they're going to take on Illinois. That game is coming up on next Wednesday there for Alabama. So they have Illinois and Gonzaga, their next two matchups, as the Crimson Tide will roll along. But we also know that we have another big college basketball game coming up here involving a team in the state, and that is on Sunday at 2 o'clock, as you're going to have on ESPN, number 1 Houston taking on Auburn. That's going to be at the BJCC here at Legacy Arena, so that's going to be a great one. And, of course, we'll have our thoughts on that one coming up for you on Monday. But that's enough college basketball talk. Let's get to quickly the NFL game last night. Nothing crazy going on there. You had the Patriots and the Jets. I think we all expected the Patriots to win, but they also covered, so that made a lot of people happy, I'm sure. But the Patriots, I mean, they've won 8 games in a row at this point. I stand by what I said earlier in the week. I think at least in the AFC right now, if you still want to ride with the Chiefs or the Bills, or you think that, when they get in the postseason, they'll turn it up, that, so be it. But I think right now you can't say that the Patriots are not the best team in the AFC. They've been really, really impressive. Drake May's an MVP candidate. And Travion Henderson, man, the best thing that may have happened to the Patriots, and I hate to say this, but one of the best things that may have happened to them this year is Ramondre Stevenson getting hurt, because it meant you had to play this guy.
Yeah.
And all he did was have 3 touchdowns last night.
He's a playmaker. And the crazy thing
Where was this at Ohio State? I felt like you never saw it like this.
And that's where I was so puzzled. It's outside of the college football playoff run, I don't remember Travion Henderson's entire career at Ohio State.
You went and paid Quinchon like $1 million plus to go, and you had him?
You're right. I'm sitting there like, what was holding him back? And then I remembered, Quinshon Judkins was there.
Yeah.
But then I remember the play he had against Texas there right before half, where they're playing prevent defense, and he has outran everybody on this football field for a touchdown.
And now he's doing that every Sunday.
Right, now he's doing it. And I will say this, Drake May is really surprising me. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't think that he would blossom into a good quarterback, but he's phenomenal. I actually have him in one of my fantasy teams, and I always question week to week, like, should I start him? And he's done nothing but produce every single week. And I never really had expectations for him. Like, I never thought he would be Mitchell Trubisky, North Carolina-esque. But I didn't think that he would be as good as he really is right now, at least this quickly. And there's got to be some real conversations about Justin Fields. I like how everybody is so, done with Kyler Murray. I think you should keep that same energy with Justin Fields. Like, I think he's terrible. He's athletic. That's it. He's bad.
He's really bad.
And if you're Breece Hall,
he wanted to get traded, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you may need to go like the Derrick Henry route of looking everybody in that front office and saying, you need to give me the ball every single play, because I'm the only bright spot you have.
I feel for him, and I feel for Garrett Wilson. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Garrett Wilson just signed a new contract with them, so he kind of did that to himself.
Good. Yeah.
But they've got some nice players. They just,
Shout out Malachi Moore.
It's been rough for them. Yeah, he's been a nice player.
He's been nice.
He's been a nice player.
He's been nice.
Gotta be happy about that.
But yeah, Justin Fields, he stinks.
Yeah, he's not good. He is not good, and the Jets are not good, which is why they are 2-8 on the season, and probably going to be in a prime position to select a Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, etc., whoever you want to have at the top of the NFL draft boards for next year at the quarterback position. So. And I'm sure that their career there will go to die, because that's what happens with the Jets and the Browns. Don't really want to go there. Look at Baker.
Where quarterbacks go to die.
I mean, you can be Baker Mayfield, be the best quarterback a franchise has had in 2 decades. They're still going to get rid of you, and now you're flourishing in Florida. I'd much rather be in Florida than Cleveland, Ohio. So good for Baker Mayfield. But that's your recap. That's what happened last night in the NFL. So the Patriots, again, they get a nice double-digit win there over the Jets. They're now 9-2 on the season, have won 8 games in a row. But we've got more going on in the college football world. How about a big shakeup in the College Football Playoff Committee? Is this going to change how the rankings are handled? But at the very least, we're going to get a new voice now on Tuesday nights telling us why the committee has made the decisions that they have. So we'll tell you what that means and the impact that that could have on the rest of the season. That's coming up here on JOX. 619, welcome back into the Friday edition of Morning Jocks. Hope everyone is getting ready for a fantastic weekend of college football and whatever else you may have going on in your life. And the good news is, at least weather-wise, it should be absolutely fantastic. Looks like it's going to be in the low to mid 70s all weekend long. Perfect football weather, as I like to say. So we have some big changes coming up in the college football playoff we need to get to here in a second, but it's also Final Score Friday. Quick reminder, 205-834-9450. That's the number there for the Courtesy GMC text line, and that's how you can get in and share your score predictions with us here on the show. But quickly, last night, something else that was going on. It wasn't a game, so to speak, but a big announcement made in the world of Major League Baseball, as we had two MVPs named last night. So quickly, shout out to Shohei Ohtani. Unsurprisingly, he won his fourth MVP award, which is now the second most in the history of Major League Baseball behind Barry Bonds, who has 7. So a little bit of room there before you catch Barry. But yeah, Ohtani's been incredible. Obviously, he's won 4 of the last 5 MVP awards, 2 in the National League, 2 in the American League. He is now the only player besides Frank Robinson to win multiple unanimous MVP awards, and he is the first player in the history of professional sports to join a new team and win a championship and an MVP award in both of the first 2 seasons with that team. So
is he the GOAT?
No. But
he's trending that way.
He is one of the best baseball players of all time, but he is not the GOAT in my opinion.
Barry Bonds. Or are you a Babe Ruth guy?
I would still probably go Barry Bonds, but
same.
I know a lot of people don't like that because he cheated or whatever. But technically, he never got caught cheating.
There we go.
But he definitely cheated. And then on the other side of things, you had my guy, Aaron Judge. He collects his 3rd MVP in the last 4 years. So these award shows getting kind of boring now. But he beats out Big Dumper, as he should have. That was a great story for Seattle. Nothing against Cal Raleigh. He had a fantastic season. Aaron Judge absolutely smoked him in every statistical category that wasn't home runs. So Aaron Judge, obviously one of the greatest hitters of the modern era. And, you know, missing that championship, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But 3 MVPs for him is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have Barry Bonds 7, Ohtani 4, Aaron Judge has 3, and he's tied with a bunch of people for the 3rd most all time. But certainly a magical last 4 or 5 years for both him and Ohtani. And they don't show any signs of slowing down in the near future. So that was your big MLB news last night as the award season is officially over. But let's get to the college football playoff, because if you and before we get, to I guess preface this, got to give big props to Trey Wallace from Outkick. He's on 3-man front with us each and every week on Wednesdays at 12:30, and so he had been covering the story about Mack Rhodes. And if you're not familiar, or that name, that sounds familiar, who is that? So he's the Baylor athletic, well, I say that lightly, is the Baylor athletic director, but he was also the chairperson for the college football playoff committee. So, on Tuesdays when you watch the rankings and Reese Davis is interviewing somebody, that is Mack Rhodes. So he is no longer, or he has been put on leave as the athletic director for Baylor, as well as the committee chair for the college football playoff. And this stems from an incident a couple of weeks ago at a Baylor football game where tight end Michael Trigg, who I'm sure a lot of us remember from his days at Ole Miss, he was wearing a different colored undershirt than the rest of his teammates. And so Mack Rhodes, the athletic director, had an altercation with Trigg, in which he let him know that that was unacceptable and put his hands on him, and did not go well, especially in today's day and age where there's video evidence of everything and you can't really deny it. And so he has now been put on leave from both Baylor and the college football playoff committee. So that's a pretty big change. We haven't seen that happen really in the middle of a season now. And obviously, right, this is, the pressure is only going to get ramped up on the committee as we get further and further along in the season. So with him being out, the College Football Playoff Committee yesterday, they made a decision. So they have now approved the return of Utah AD Mike Harlan. So he's now going to be added to the selection committee. And a name that we're familiar with, and somebody who certainly didn't already have enough on his plate, is going to be the new chairperson. And that is Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek, who is, of course, in the middle of a football coaching search right now that has a ton of rumors flying around it. But that decision was announced yesterday. So now, unless there's some change I'm unaware of, on Tuesday, you're going to see Reese Davis interviewing Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas athletic director, as he will be the chair, the spokesperson, what you want to call it, for the College Football Playoff Committee moving forward. So, again, I don't think it's going to have an impact on how people view the teams or how the rankings are handled or anything like that. But certainly a big shakeup. And I guess the question now is, is this going to be a temporary thing? Is this something where we're talking about Mack Rhoades not having a job in the near future? And we just kind of, we'll look back on this and go, oh, yeah, he was the guy for like 2 weeks. But certainly a big change in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it is. And also to Mack Rhoades' situation, one, why would you walk up on Michael Trigg? Like, I feel as though if there's any player that could wear whatever undershirt you want, it's him and Sawyer Robertson. Like, you know what? Y'all do what y'all want to do. If that means that you're going to go out here and catch, 11 passes for $150, go ahead, my brother. Do what you need to do.
Well, he caught 2 touchdowns in the game after that happened. Like,
so it's like, who cares what the undershirt is, man? But, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation. But also for Hunter Yurachek, does this mean the SEC is getting, like 7 teams into the college football playoff now? Because we got the inside track?
Well, my understanding is that he will have to recuse himself from those discussions when they're debating, SEC teams. So my question is he even ever going to be in the room to discuss things? Because that's like
It's
the majority of the conversation. At least half the conversation's got to be about the SEC. I mean, just based on the number of teams that they have right there.
Right.
In the top 15.
Say if they go like team by team, like he's gonna miss, like a good hour of conversation because you gotta go 3, 4, and 5 are all SEC teams.
7 of the top 14 teams are from the SEC. Right. That's half.
So yeah, he's all right. Hunter, you step on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're discussing Texas A&M.
No, I look at it like this: like, can you come in on Tuesday and Thursday? Like, we'll talk about the other conferences on Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah, you take Monday, Wednesday, Friday off, and we'll take care of the rest. So,
but yeah, he is busy though. Just, I mean, with the college football playoff thing, and he's got to find a head coach for his football team.
Well, according to all the Arkansas fans, that's they've already come to an agreement, and it's a big name, and we can't hear about it yet, but it's already happened. That's their belief. It's
so
Bobby
P is coming back. That's what you're saying.
I'm just gonna say this. What are they really good at? Scoring points.
Mm-hmm.
What's LSU really bad at?
Scoring points.
You win a rivalry game. Is that enough to put you over the edge if you're Bobby P and get a job? But I guess not, because they've already hired a new coach, so it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of buzz going on around that
James
Arkansas
Franklin
coaching job. That's a popular name that I've heard about. That job, but I also heard 2 weeks ago that he was going to Virginia Tech and that deal was done. So the reality is nobody really knows what's going on.
Nope.
In terms of definites, you might know who's being interviewed or who's a candidate, but I think a lot of these people are weighing their options and might be a little while before we get anything definite. But that's what makes it fun, all the speculation of the coaching carousel. So that's what's going on in the world of college football. Some big changes there for the College Football Playoff Committee. But it is now time. Our picks for Week 12 of the college football season, mine and Damien's favorite part of the week. We give you our picks. You can also join in on the fun Final Score Friday, 205-834-9450. That gets you on the courtesy GMC text line where you can play along, offer up your picks, predictions for the college football weekend, and that is what we do next. Me and Damien give you our picks for Week 12 here on JOX. Oh, when you hear that music, you know exactly what time it is here on JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell with you here on a football Friday, and it's time for us to deliver our picks for week 12 of the college football season, as we do each and every week here on the program. And of course, you can join along as well, 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line. And you can be like Joseph, who chimes in and says he has Georgia beating Texas 31-23, Alabama over Oklahoma 23-17, and he has his upset pick of the week, Pitt 37, Notre Dame 34. Appreciate you sending in those score predictions there, Joseph. And if you want to join him, you can do so on the courtesy GMC text line, and we'll get to those coming up in the program. So let's start off with the 11 o'clock slate, Damien. Unfortunately, it's another week without anything particularly crazy in the SEC, at least in the 11 a.m. slate. But you do have South Carolina traveling to College Station to take on Texas A&M. So Texas A&M, a 19.5-point favorite. That's a lot of points there. 50.5 is the total right now. This is Texas A&M coming off that big win over Missouri last week. If you remember last year, this was a game where South Carolina, they'd gotten some mojo. They rolled into College Station, or they hosted Texas A&M at home, and Texas A&M beat the brakes off of South Carolina last year. Now will South Carolina maybe play a little spoiler here late in the season for A&M? I say no. I think Texas A&M they have shown that they have that extra gear where they can go and they can win some of these games in blowout fashion. You saw that against Missouri last week. Again, I just think South Carolina's in a bit of a rough spot. I know what they did. You know, we all remember what the Alabama game. Don't think they're going to be able to pull that off against Texas A&M on the road. So give me the Aggies. I think it's a lot of points, but I'll take them to win by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Texas A&M is by far and away the better football team. You get them at home. Yeah, it's an 11 o'clock kickoff, but they may make it a game early, but I think Texas A&M really starts to dominate. And, it's just an uncomfortable situation to be in if you're Shane Beamer. But I think Texas A&M, they pull out the belt again for the second week in a row against a conference opponent. Give me Texas A&M big.
All right, also at 11 a.m., you're going to have a big matchup there in the ACC as Notre Dame and Pitt are going to do battle. Number 9, Notre Dame, number 22, Pittsburgh. Notre Dame, a 12.5-point favorite in this one on the road. 53.5 is the total. So this number has gotten a little bit bigger throughout the week. I think at one point it was maybe 9.5, 10.5 for Notre Dame. That was a little more appetizing. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. I mean, there's the possibility they just absolutely boat race them. But Pitt playing at home, you need to win this game to keep. I know it doesn't matter for the ACC race, but it would be a big resume stamp for them trying to get into a college football playoff conversation. I think Pitt can keep it within 12.5 at home. I like Notre Dame by about 10 points.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I think Pitt covers the 12.5 just because, again, they're defending home field. They can really wreck shop in the college football playoff. There's a lot that can really motivate them and have this game a lot closer than what we expect. Notre Dame is a great football team. They've done nothing but answer the call ever since those opening losses to Texas A&M and Miami. But I think Pitt, they just don't have enough outside of, Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame. Once he gets going, it's going to be hard to stop. But I do think they can keep it respectful, keep it within a puncher's chance. I think Pitt covers the 12.5, but Notre Dame wins the ball game.
All right, at 11:45 on the SEC Network, you're going to get a rivalry game, the Battle for the Boot, as Arkansas will be traveling to Baton Rouge for a matchup against the LSU Tigers. Obviously, I mean, tough place to go on the road, but it's not at night, so that helps you if you're Arkansas. I brought this up in the last segment, right? Arkansas is really good at scoring points. They're not great at stopping people from scoring points. LSU, pretty good at stopping people from scoring points at times. Really bad at scoring points themselves, though. They haven't scored more than 25 points in a game against Power 4 competition this season. This might be a hot take for the weekend. I'm actually taking Arkansas. I think they cover. I think Arkansas wins this game outright. That's going to be my upset pick for rivalry. I think Bobby P feels like this is, hey, if I can win this game, maybe, just maybe I have a chance of getting the job. I don't think he's going to get the job. He shouldn't get the job, but Yeah, man, why not? I like Arkansas. LSU kind of had their emotional response to Brian Kelly being fired last week. Didn't work out well for them offensively. I mean, if you're telling me Arkansas just has to score 28 points to have a chance to win this game, I like those odds. So give me Arkansas.
And that's kind of where I'm at. But I think LSU's defense is still good enough to hold this Arkansas team from scoring. Arkansas cannot stop anybody from scoring. So if there's going to be a get-right game for LSU, it's going to be at home against this Arkansas squad. I think LSU wins. It may not be the prettiest. It may not be the most turnt LSU game we've seen in a long time. But I think they kind of get the monkey off their back, and they win at home in a little bit of a rock fight. I think because Taylor Green does have the turnover gene. Like
Yeah, he does.
We get spectacular.
We
Taylor
remember
Green.
the fourth quarter of that Auburn game.
Yeah, if we get spectacular Taylor Green, yeah, Arkansas can run away with it. But I think LSU's defense is just good enough to kind of make it interesting, make it difficult for Taylor Green and those boys. So I think LSU, in a close one, wins it.
Okay. All right, let's jump to the afternoon slate now, the evening slate, because we're going to save Oklahoma, Alabama. That'll be our last pick of the day here, coming up in a few minutes. So 6 o'clock on ESPN, you got Florida going down to old Hotty Toddy to take on number 7 Ole Miss. I think we all remember this was a game last year. Ole Miss traveled to the Swamp. All they had to do was win and get in the playoff. And what could they not do, Damian? Win.
That was win the football game.
They could not win the football game. Jackson Dart had some bad interceptions late in that game last year. But it's a new season, Damian. Florida just got smoked by Kentucky. I mean, that was one of them. I mean, glad I wasn't a Florida fan last week, and that's all I'll say about that one. So Florida reeling a little bit after the firing of Billy Napier. The offense, DJ Lagway, he's never been able to get going. He's been really turnover prone this year. And now you're going on the road against an Ole Miss team that, A, wants revenge from last year, and B, knows that if they win this game, right, they're pretty much in the college football playoff, because even if you lost the Egg Bowl to Mississippi State, you're probably going to be able to get in at 10-2, right? So a lot on the line for Ole Miss. They're at home, and I think you want to go out there and have a great performance and remind Lane Kiffin, hey, don't you want to stay here instead of going and playing for that? Yeah, you want to go play for the team that we just beat 42-14? That's who you want to go coach? All right. See ya. I think Ole Miss, they got chip on their shoulder for this one. I like them by they're favored by 11.5. I like them to win by multiple touchdowns.
Absolutely, man. This ain't gonna be a ball game. Florida, their soul was broken by Kentucky last week. DJ Lagway, I think the transfer portal might be calling your name, buddy. I hate it for you, but whenever the new coach gets in there, not named Lane Kiffin, they're gonna say, "Hey, you got a decision to make, my brother." I think he's leaving. And I think this game is going to add to that, because I don't think Florida is going to score not even close to enough points to match what Ole Miss is about to do to them. Give me Ole Miss big. Hotty toddy.
So you heard it here first. DJ Lagway to Miami in the transfer portal. That's what Damian just said. That's what I heard. And then moving on at 6:30 tomorrow night, you're going to have on ABC primetime a top 10 matchup, Texas and Georgia there at Sanford Stadium at night. Georgia is 6.5-point favorite, the total 50.5 for this one. And look, I'll give credit where credit's due. I think Texas is a team that has improved a lot over the course of the season. However, I know we can't compare this to last year's team. It's very different. But I think this year's Texas is a little worse than last year. I think this year's Georgia is maybe a little bit worse than last year's team too, at least defensively. But, I mean, Georgia at home in this type of a situation, I think it'll be an interesting first half, but we all know Kirby will make second half adjustments, and especially in that fourth quarter, I would expect Georgia to really start to take over the game at that point. If you're telling me they got to win by only a touchdown, give me Georgia. I think they win, no problem, and I'll take them to cover as well.
I have this gut feeling that I don't think this game is going to be close. I really don't. Texas on the road has not been impressive, and the one memory I have is the way that they performed in the Swamp against Florida, and I'm thinking, I saw what the game looked like last year, where Georgia looked like they broke their will in Austin, Texas. Now you got to come to Athens. That place is going to be rocking. Georgia is playing with a little bit of a fire that, again, they may be a little bit less talented than what they have been in years past, but they still have that intimidation factor. I think Sark is a great offensive mind. I don't think Arch, he's good. He's shown that he has glimpses of greatness. I just don't think it's going to be shown on Saturday in Athens, Georgia. I think Georgia wins big.
I was about to say, I think Georgia's at home. I think they got the better quarterback. We saw how this game went last year, right? They've
Yeah.
been in these situations. Texas is,
Their defense will keep them in the ball game.
yeah.
I think Texas's defense can make it difficult for Georgia offensively, but I don't know without a few tricks here and there that Texas's offense can sustain drives, multiple drives against Georgia's defense right now. I just
And I could see early on Texas getting off to a hot start because Georgia starts slow.
Right.
But they figure things out pretty quickly at halftime. So I think that's going to be tough for Texas to get through tomorrow night. But we do have one more game left. Of course, that's Oklahoma and Alabama. That game coming up tomorrow from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Me and Damian, we close out our picks from the week and get to yours. Alabama, Oklahoma, our thoughts, our final thoughts. That's next. 6:47 here on your Friday morning, Jocks. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock. And then we'll hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning, which just means more college football conversation for you. Once they wrap up at 10 o'clock, you got three-man front until 2, and then the Paul Feinbaum show from 2 to 6. And that is how you can start off your weekend with a little bit of college football. All right, we just gave you our picks for most of the games going on, the big ones at least, in the SEC as well as Notre Dame and Pitt. But we have one more game left to do, Damian, and as tradition, we keep the in-state teams last, but certainly not least. Auburn on bye week this week, obviously, getting ready to take on the Mercer Bears next week. So for now, it's just Alabama, as they are going to be taking on the Oklahoma Sooners tomorrow. A top 11 matchup there, number 11 Oklahoma, number 4 Alabama. For Oklahoma, you lose this game, probably out of the college football playoff mix. You win this game, oh, buddy, things are going to get real interesting, not only for them, but also for Alabama, who we all know has the Iron Bowl left, and that would essentially stand between them and a spot in the college football playoff. So Alabama, a 5.5-point favorite at home, total at 46.5. And I would just say this is how I've been feeling about this game all week, honestly. This is truly a gut feeling is what I'm about to share. And if you want to discredit that, that's perfectly fine. But my gut feeling of this game, I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. I think the injury side of things looks like it's going to end up helping Alabama and hurting Oklahoma at least a little bit. And I think that that will be enough to where this is a home game for Alabama. Kalen DeBoer has not lost a single game inside of Bryant-Denny Stadium yet. You have the revenge factor of last year. You know if you win this game, you're in the college football playoff, and you're like 98% chance you're going to Atlanta for an SEC championship as well. I think Alabama is going to play arguably their best game of the season so far. And I think a lot of that's going to come down to Ty Simpson. I think you're going to see him maybe hit on a couple of those throws that he hasn't the last couple of weeks. And I think Alabama defensively is continuing to get better. I don't think they're going to hold them to 9 points like they did against LSU. But I think they're going to go out there, be able to cause a turnover or two, make John Mateer a little uncomfortable, and I think they're going to be able to go out there and keep them at bay. So I think Alabama is going to get it done. I think it's still going to be a fairly close game. I'm looking at something like Alabama 24, Oklahoma 17, or 24-14 Alabama, something in that realm. So I like Alabama. I think they win by maybe a touchdown, maybe a little bit more. But I think it looks... when you watch the game tomorrow, you go, okay, I feel a little bit better about that Alabama team moving forward.
I think this game is going to look like Alabama of old. I think it's going to be a battle between two of the better teams in college football right now. But you know what? Defense wins championships. You know who I think the X factor is going to be in this ball game? Somebody that took a bunch of criticism week one. That would be one Bray Hubbard. I think John Mateer serves them up one interception that's going to be a game changer. And you know what? Alabama's going to have a 28-21 lead late in the fourth quarter. And when Alabama puts this game away, it's going to be because of the run game. I think Alabama has the lead in the final minutes, and they seal it off with Jam Miller, Ty Simpson, A.K. Deere, whoever you want. But they're going to run the football in the fourth quarter to put the game on ice. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be physical, but Alabama wins a close one at home.
All right, so me and Damian both like Alabama to cover against the Sooners tomorrow. So let's get to your text here on the Courtesy GMC text line. That's how we'll wrap up the show with your score predictions for the weekend. Josh from Coleman chimes in. He has a few picks. He says Alabama 21, Oklahoma 17, Ole Miss 38, Florida 7.
Let's go.
Let's see, Georgia 42, Texas 35.
Ooh.
A&M 34, South Carolina 21, and Pitt over Notre Dame. That's now the second person we have picking an upset there. 24-21 Pitt. He says, love listening to you guys, and thanks for making everybody's day better in the morning. Y'all are awesome, and roll tide.
Hotty toddy, brother.
Appreciate that. Someone says, preach, Damien, roll tide, brother.
Hotty toddy to you as well.
Thought you might say it.
Oh,
you
thank you.
You used to say it.
Yeah, used to.
Let's see. This one just says Nico's going back to Neyland North this week. Ohio State wins 70-2. Yeah, I think he's gonna have some flashbacks to the postseason last year.
Oh boy.
Let's see. This one comes in. It says, from Grumpy the bus driver. He says Alabama's going to win 17-14.
Okay.
Georgia over Texas 35-17, and he has Auburn beats the bye week 35-10.
There we go.
Thought the joke normally went the other way. I've never heard the joke that way. But hey, that'd be a big weekend for Auburn. 35-10. Dave, he chimes in. He says he likes the over in Alabama, Oklahoma, the under in Iowa, USC. He likes Arkansas straight up over LSU, and he likes the over in Georgia and Texas.
Okay.
All right, I like it. I like some totals. Eric chimes in from Sneed. He goes Alabama 37, Oklahoma 24, Georgia 31, Texas 28, and Ole Miss 41, Florida 17.
Let's go.
This text says, I'm puzzled as to why Alabama had their white uniforms on last night. I thought that was for the road games and their crimson was at home. I don't know why they couldn't tell you why they wore those jerseys. Maybe they should have worn the crimson ones. Maybe they would have won. Let's see. This text rolls in. I love it. Last week, this person texted in Citadel 24, Ole Miss 7.
Cut it out.
That one didn't work out very well. He has Louisville 24 over Clemson 14. That game's tonight. You can hear that on JOX 94.5, actually. So Louisville beating Clemson by 10. Texas beating Georgia 28-24. That's the first Texas win we've had. And Bama 24, Oklahoma 14. That's basically what I said just a minute ago. He says, I think Alabama gets AK Deer going early and the rushing conversation comes to an end. He says, Jim Miller looks like Ray Charles out there.
Vision is not his problem.
I just read them.
Yeah, the vision is there. It's just the home run ability is lacking.
Yeah, I just let's see. I'm so confused about this one. It says, I don't know. He said we hate free speech. I'm so confused about what that text says. Let's see. It says the Vandy and Utah discussion just got a bit more lopsided.
What happened?
I don't know. Not sure about how that one works. From Delaware Tide. Oh, listening in from Wilmington, Delaware. Appreciate it.
Hey.
He has Oklahoma and Alabama 31-24. He has Georgia winning 38-28. Delaware beating Sam Houston 28-17. And Delaware State 34, Howard 27. Now I got to watch Delaware State, man.
Let's go.
I'm fired up. Let's see. And yeah, everyone's saying, yeah, Alabama always wears their white jerseys at home. Thank you for clearing that up for our listener earlier. Appreciate you joining the show. We're back Monday at 6. Mac and Cube is up next.